In this tutorial, I will show you how to configure the marking scheme. This is the marking scheme that reviewers will use to score papers. Let's begin by looking at Step 1. In Step 1, we ask you to identify the scoring categories that will be used. Within this section, the general category is the first one we'll look at, where you will see we've got relevance, articulation, originality, and technical merit. These are options that are fully configurable that you can change at any stage. If you want to change something, just click in the box and type something else. You can also disable them by clicking on the checkbox to remove it. You can also reorder them using the reorder, up and down options available to you. We also ask you to provide some help text so that your reviewers understand the meaning of each of the boxes. These are fully customizable. You can add additional ones if you so choose. After General, we have this Other section. The Other section allows you to ask questions of the reviewers that are not linked to the scoring. So for example, should they be invited to a journal? Should they be awarded the Best Paper Prize? Should they be given a Maths Prize? This allows you to ask questions of the reviewers. You can also disable and enable using the checkbox. The third question we ask is around format. We ask reviewers to identify what is the best format for this submission. They will probably have the option of choosing oral or poster, but you specify this on the next step. The next option we ask is around acceptance. This is where you ask the reviewer, in your opinion, should the submission be accepted or rejected from the conference. The reviewer then must score this on a rating of 5 to 1, where 5 means accept and 1 means reject. Finally, we provide an opportunity for you to ask reviewers how confident are they in their ability to review this paper. This will allow a reviewer, for example, who is highly proficient in the area, to say that, yes, I am qualified to review this paper and I fully understand the concept that is being discussed. Therefore, you may rely on the scores that I will provide as being very accurate. If, however, a reviewer feels that the paper's scope is outside of their area of expertise, this setting allows them to indicate to you, the chair, that they may not be fully qualified to review this paper. Once you're ready, you can review your settings and then click Done to move to Step 2. On Step 2, we ask you to flesh out the categories that you provided previously. So as you can see in relevance and articulation originality, we're now asking you to provide what the scores mean. Please note that each of these is scored between 1 and 5, where 5 in this case is very relevant. If you wish to change the text or the legend that goes along each side number, you simply click into the box and begin typing. We have two legends, a short legend and a long legend. The short legend should ideally be 1 or 2 words. The long legend allows you to identify an additional piece of information so that reviewers, when scoring, can identify which of the following 5 options is most appropriate. You should do this for each of your categories in the General section. Within the Other section, things are slightly different. As we're only asking questions, usually you'll have a yes or no answer. In this place, simply type the relevant options that should be available to reviewers. Within the Format section, largely you shall have oral and poster, or whatever other formats you may be accepting. Within Acceptance again, a reviewer is asked to choose between 1 and 5, 5 being better, 1 being the worst. You should provide text to the right hand side of this so the reviewer can identify what their options are. And finally, within Confidence, you ask the reviewer to identify which of the 5 statements most closely associates them. Once you're done, we'll take you to Step 3, where we'll begin to discuss category weighting. Category weighting is an advanced step, and most conference users may never wish to use it. If you do wish to use it, simply check the Enable box. Where this becomes most useful is in a situation where you have a number of categories, such as relevance and originality. At certain conferences, the relevance may be far more important to acceptance than, say, the originality. If this is the case, you can weight the impact that this score will have on the overall score. Simply scroll to the right to increase the impact that a given score can have. Ultimately, all the scores within the General section are aggregated together based on the weightings that are provided here. They are then aggregated with the acceptance score, again based on the weighting that you provide. The outcome of this aggregation is what we call the ExOrdo rating, something I'll discuss in a little while. However, I'm going to disable this for now, as only advanced conferences will use it. We'll then take you to step 4, where we ask you about a number of extra settings. The first setting we'll ask you is, should a reviewer be required to provide a summary of their understanding? This is useful because it shows an author that the reviewer has actually taken the time to fully understand and review their submission. This can be optional or required. In the second option, we ask whether a reviewer should be required to provide feedback to authors. In a standard peer review situation, it's a good idea to encourage reviewers to provide feedback to the authors, as this will allow them to learn from mistakes and improve their submissions as time goes on. The third option is whether or not reviewers should be required to provide private comments to chairs. This is where a reviewer writes private instructions that only you, the chair or the administrator, will be able to see. It allows them to provide secret instructions that will never ever be shown to the authors. Finally, we ask if you would like to have a transparent scoring system. In other words, should reviewers and authors be able to see the scores, i.e. the numbers that they are awarded on a particular submission? If you choose full transparency, an author will be able to see that they scored a 3 or a 2 in relevance or originality, as the case may be. However, you can also choose to hide the scores, meaning they will only see the summary and the feedback for authors when they log in. It's a good idea if you wish to be fully open to go full transparency. However, this can also lead to problems when authors feel hard done by if they feel they got a lower score than they should have. Once you're ready, click Done to preview how this will look. This is the widget that will be presented to reviewers. They will see something that looks just like this. Once they click on an option, the help text will expand to help a reviewer to identify which option they should choose. They'll first see the overall help text you provided on the category. Below that, they will see the 5 options, with the short and long help text available to them. They can then read this text and figure out which of the following options best describes their understanding of the paper. They then proceed to review everything under each of the categories. And as you can see, the general score keeps updating as I do that. It's now listed as 3.55, which is an aggregate across all of these sections, bearing in mind the options that was chosen in the category weighting also. I then choose Format and Acceptance. This is a decision 1 to 5 whether or not this submission should be accepted at this conference. 1 being Do Not Accept, 5 being Accept. The reviewer chooses their option. They then suggest their confidence level when reviewing this. In this case, I was very confident that I knew what I was talking about. Finally, the system will build what we call the ExOrdo rating, an aggregated number that is built from the general scores and the acceptance, to give an overall rating in this case of 3.77. Finally, I'm asked another question, in this case, should the submission be invited for a journal? I then proceed to provide some comments. In the summary box, this shows that I've actually read the submission and I fully understand it. These comments will be shown to the authors. I then proceed to provide comments to the authors. These comments should be positive and offer them an opportunity to learn and improve their submission, should they A, be rejected, or B, need to resubmit again. Finally, I get to provide a third option. These are comments for the chair. These comments will only be seen by you, the administrator. These will never ever be shown to the authors. Once a reviewer is then complete with their review, they simply scroll down and drag the switch to the right hand side. This will lock the review, making no further updates possible. Only you, the administrator, can unlock a review. Thank you for taking the time to set up your marking scheme. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at support@exordo.com.